In the 6th decade of the 20th century, human beings in rocket ships landed on the moon. By 2200 AD, they had reached the other planets of our solar system. Almost at once, there followed the discovery of hyperdrive, through which the speed of light was first obtained and later greatly surpassed. And so at last, mankind began the conquest and colonization of deep space. We join United Planets cruiser C-57D, now more than a year out from Earth base on a special mission to the planetary system of the great main sequence star, Altair. Hello, that's right, friends, fans, and sci-fi heads. Prepare your minds for a new scale of scientific value, because Silver Screen Cinema Classics is going intergalactic with a trip to the Forbidden Planet. I am your regular host and captain on this voyage, Michael Wilson. Don't worry, hosts don't need brains, just a good loud voice. So I think we're going to be fine. I am joined, as always, by my trusty Lieutenant D.K. Hello.
I noticed I get the pervy lieutenant moniker, but thank you.
I mean, it was that, or you could be the robot man. I mean,
yeah, fair point.
And we're also joined by another guest who has already had one close encounter with us here on the podcast, but he's come back for more sci-fi fun. It's Justin. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Have a close encounter. God knows how many kinds at this point.
Indeed. But yeah, you've been on the podcast a few times, certainly amongst the Trek ones and things as well. So always good to have you back to talk about all things sci-fi, clearly.
Oh, yeah.
And as I said, this month we are looking at Forbidden Planet, which is a 1956 American sci-fi action film from Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, back in the days when there was more than one huge conglomerate studio. It was shot in Eastman color and CinemaScope. It was a landmark film and considered one of the great science fiction films of the 1950s, a precursor of contemporary science fiction cinema. The critic and writer Tony Magistrale describes it as one of the best examples of early techno-horror. The characters and the isolated setting have been compared to those in William Shakespeare's The Tempest, and the plot contains certain happenings analogous to the play, leading many to consider it a loose adaptation. So yeah, we'll start facing our subconscious nightmares soon, and then we might even review the film. But first, I have to go around and ask a few questions. First of all, do you guys have any particular favorite classic sci-fi? I've probably asked your favorite classic movies before, but we're dealing with this classic era of sci-fi here in the 50s. Do you have anything particularly that stands out? And DK, I've never asked you this, so I'll come to you first for that one.
Ooh, how far? I mean, what era are we talking? Are we talking
well, anything? I mean, classics-wise, I tend to go birth of cinema to like end of the 70s. But
yeah. I've already covered it on cult classics, but I've always had a great affection for Quatermass and the Pit.
Oh, nice, good call. Yeah.
Very another kind of techno horror, as it were. From Hammer. Yeah. Really good.
Yeah.
Really good. If you've not seen it, get out there. But it's even now, it's I don't think it's for the squeamish.
Yeah, it's another one of those that's kind of crucial in the genre of sci-fi. It's crucial kind of an opening pillar, as it were, for what would become sci-fi, as it was. So it's a good call. Yeah. And how about you, Justin? Are you a bit of a sci-fi head? Do you have any classic sci-fi that you wanted to shout out?
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. I was going through. I was not. I didn't realize you were going to be asking the hard-hitting questions in this episode.
I mean, it's just a little bit of a warm-up, really.
We'll warm up my ass. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm sci-fi. I'm honestly just gonna go. In this case, I'm just gonna go with my, with the classic, with my default standby, which is Star Wars. Obviously, the very first one. Because I was gonna cheat a little bit and say maybe like if I wanted to go older, and it's not sci-fi really, but if I had to, I'd say maybe like the first original King Kong. But that's more like fantasy, other adventure, lost.
I'd allow it.
Okay, then I'm going with the original King Kong.
Yeah, we have covered that. on the Cinema Classics podcast, and I mean, I can buy it sci-fi. I mean, everyone says Jurassic Park is sci-fi, so as far as I'm concerned, if they're giant monsters, you're fair game.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that one includes like actual scientists in Jurassic Park, though. You know, you've got like paleontologists and archaeologists and all the ologists in it. So,
well, I'm sure there's at least one expert on the Skull Island expeditions, isn't there?
It's very
you would hope so.
Yeah.
Then again, maybe not.
Yeah,
the way it went.
I think this is before they thought to actually have like drama. I mean, this is movies that only just introduce sound.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That's all good choices. I'm going to shout out. I try to think around the kind of era, and I think I'll have to try and be specific. I'll keep it to one, and I'll say Invasion of the Body Snatchers would be my particular.
I knew you were going to go.
Oh my god! I completely forgot about that. I forgot.
Wow. Okay. I've said it, and then all of you are just like, "Oh yeah, that one."
Look, it's one of those ones that isn't like this is maybe I'm telling, but you say science fiction, I think of space, I think of the stars, I think.
I see. Yeah.
So I don't think of like aliens that look like people and is an allegory for McCarthyism and all that.
Yeah, I mean if you insist on something more spacey, I could always say The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah, you said Invasion of Body Snatchers. Immediately, that was the second movie that popped into my head because they're of like the same. They're both like black and white, early 50s sci-fi movies. And,
no, I think I'm one of the few people that I think prefers the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers to the 70s remake, or certainly any of the other terrible ones. And there was certainly a lot of, I was going to say, unrest around the 50s around nuclear proliferation and the state of the world and stuff. And of course, we can't possibly relate nowadays, but we can always.
No, everything's hunky dory now.
Everything's fine now.
We so moved on from McCarthyism, so now that we solved that, everything's fine.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, witch hunts, worrying about nuclear weapons, these things from the 1950s, 70 years ago. What are we talking about?
Exactly, Who can we trust, who isn't we trust? People getting blamed for being labeled things, it's good to live in the future.
Keep it light, Justin. Keep it.
Well, I said it's good to live in the future, and that's on you. If you read that sarcastic, I can't help it.
I have to say, the one thing I would note quickly about Forbidden Planet on the kind of plus side of things for us is they really had no faith in us reaching the moon anytime soon, did they? At the start of the movie, I've altered it for my introduction, but at the start of the movie, they were like, in the last decade of the 21st century, man landed on the moon. I was like, we were a bit ahead of that, guys. I mean, we're not quick with a lot of things, but come on, give us some credit.
This is less than 15 years away from the moon landing.
Yeah, exactly. So, at the very least, we kind of beat them on that prediction. So, so going to the movie itself then, before we dive into the behind-the-scenes stuff, I do like to go around and ask kind of, what was the first time you saw this movie and what were your first impressions of it when you saw it, and kind of what are your initial spoiler-free thoughts about it, from that first experience? Justin, I'll mix it up and ask you first on this one.
Yeah, no, I have a very interesting, because this is, you have to understand, my childhood, even my adulthood somewhat, I always grew up, my dad was playing these types of movies like Forbidden Planet on the TV, and so I'd seen bits and pieces of this like just on like the TV growing up before I like sat down and watched it beginning to end. In fact, my dad even has like a little like Robby the Robot toy like with the box and everything. Nice. So like I'm very well acquainted with Robby as well. Not to get to. But it was nice. I don't think it was until like the past few years that I actually like sat down beginning to end and was like, okay, what is this movie in its entirety? And and I could appreciate a lot of the, like just how groundbreaking and like how unlike it's very weird. It's one of those things where I have to remind myself to not look at it from like a 21st century lens, because it did so many things that are commonplace. Forbidden Planet was one of the first to do a lot of things like humans going to other planets and this and like what qualified as VFX heavy for the time, and like similar to the War of the Worlds. I just remembered that one as well. That's another.
Oh, of course, yeah. We're reviewing that this year, I think, actually, at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but So, but I could see why, and I appreciated all that, and I forgot where I was going, but like I think it's.
I know what you mean. Yeah. It's amazing because you watch it, and as you said, it's if you watched it without kind of the history behind it, you could think it's very kind of cliche and stuff, but it's one of those where it's like, no, this isn't cliche. This literally just started all the things that became cliche in science fiction. There was no, as you said, mankind traveling to other planets and special effects integrated with action and stuff like that, and in as best a way as they could be for 1956. And yeah, just a lot of the ideas, the other planets, the sound stages, the map paintings, things like that, things that sci-fi would truly develop. But again, we'll get into that because I have a bit on the behind the scenes that I was able to find out that DK is going to read out in a bit when we reach toward the end of the podcast, a bit about the legacy of Forbidden Planet, because it's incredible just how influential it is. I think that's the word, isn't it? Influential to certainly, like I said, the sci-fi genre, if not, genre TV and film and everything in particular. So yeah. What about you then, DK? Can you recall the first time you saw this?
I was very, very young. My dad put it on for me because my dad actually saw this at the cinema, and yeah, I think he told me that he was very young, but he was like kind of shit scared at some point. But yeah, it was on TV. So was it on TV? He could have actually rented it, if I'm being honest. And yeah, I watched it back then. I think this one is the first time I've watched it since that viewing. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just it's never come up again. But yeah, I have good memories of watching this when I was a kid, and obviously loving Robby. So that when he showed up in other things such as Gremlins and stuff, I was like giggling like a weirdo.
That's what we do. We're sci-fi fans. That's what we do all the time. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, we'll get to that when we talk about some of the legacy and stuff. I definitely, yeah. Futuristic, future Easter eggs, I should say. Easter eggs. I don't know, based on things from this film that would later be incorporated. But yeah, I mean, in terms of my first experience, I know I was very, very young. And it would probably have been a DVD. I don't think it would have been back in the video days, but I know that it was because I had started getting into sci-fi and I knew that I liked kind of Star Trek. My mum had introduced me to the original series, and I was really obsessed with Next Generation, as I've mentioned lots of other times in various podcasts and other circumstances. So I knew that I loved
like Star Trek.
Yeah, no, shocking, right?
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, you're just hitting us with this now.
This is brand new information. Like I've been running a Star Trek and Doctor Who podcast for the last 3 years. But no. So I knew I loved sci-fi in general, and I was aware of Forbidden Planet by reputation because of things like the shops, the comic book shops that were called that. And I was like, they've got to be named after this movie for a reason. It must be pivotal to sci-fi. And then again, you kind of, you do a bit of exploration, you find out that it is, influential in the ways that we'll talk about in the legacy section. So I was like, well, I've got to watch this if I'm going to call myself a sci-fi fan. So I watched it on DVD, and really, I was very young. I probably would only have been, well, not that young, but I probably would have been about like 14 maybe, and was like, this is great. I love, even though it was, it's dated for its time, but I don't think it has dated that badly. So I remember just really being like, yeah, I can see all of this cool stuff, and it's very, I don't know, it kind of, for me, it had Star Trek original series-esque type vibes to it.
Yeah.
So I just remember loving it and thinking I can see why this is what sci-fi is, and I kind of fell in love with it and watched it many a time since then. And I have since bought the Blu-ray with the unique sleeve and the free poster that it comes with, which is my little profile picture here is the Blu-ray sleeve. It's not available on 4K before anybody wonders why I haven't got it on that.
Oh man, yeah. What's wrong with you?
I mean, it will be a day one purchase if and when they release it on 4K, believe me. But it still hasn't been just yet. So, so I've got a lot, I mean, spoiler alert, I've got a lot of affection for this. So don't expect too much criticism apart from perhaps some of the more dated social aspects of the film, which took me slightly off guard on this viewing when I was trying to be a bit more critic head, But,
I just love the fact that you say, the special effects are a bit dated, and you actually grew up on Doctor Who.
I didn't necessarily mean all of the special effects. Some of the attitudes I think are dated as well. Some of the looks and things. And I mean, having said that, some of the special effects as well. I mean, I think I do mention it in the BTS, but the actual creature animation is by one of the Disney animators. It's literally a cartoon.
I feel like the term effects is being used very loosely in a time when effects was pretty much just like drawing like colored lines on top of the to make it look like, because some of these, it's like I feel like I could see this from like a student short film. Not as like effects and and effect techniques that could still easily be utilized today on a low budget. And I'm sure at the time this was probably like a blockbuster movie, even though.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't love, obviously, like I said, some of the more dated aspects being the like creature effects and the laser stuff. But having said that, the physical effects I think still really hold up. And I remember first seeing like Robby driving that car thing around, and it must have been like the first time people saw the speeders in Star Wars. I was like, wow, how did they do this? Or things like the dude getting captured by the magnet and them all laughing at him. I was like, well, this is an incredible effect. Probably not. It's probably really basic, like, harness or something. But at the time, I just thought, wow, how did they do this?
Yeah.
And like you said, DK, I mean, there's Doctor Who's from 20, 30 years later than this, which look significantly worse. Let's be fair.
Yeah. I love the one that quote unquote blew my mind was like when the doors are like locking on the thing.
Oh, the steel shutters, you mean?
Yeah, the steel shutters, and it's very clear it's just like a different frame each time. But like, I was like, that's neat, that's practical, that's nifty.
Yeah, it kind of works though. I mean, yeah, it's a bit jerky, but I think it works. Yeah, so, awesome. So before we go into our full deep analysis, then we're going to start, as we often do with these things, with a little bit of behind the scenes. And as I say, I have tasked my trusty lieutenant, as I always do, DK, with a bit of information to discover and to read out here for us. So, DK, would you like to take it away and tell us a little bit about the history and the BTS of Forbidden Planet?
Yeah, right. Forbidden Planet pioneered several aspects of science fiction cinema. It was the first sci-fi film to depict humans travelling in a human-made, faster-than-light starship. It was also the first to be set entirely on a planet orbiting another star, far away from Earth. Robby the Robot is one of the first film robots that was more than just mechanical tin can on legs. Robby displays a distinct personality and is an integral supporting character in the film. Although work prints of cinema films were normally destroyed, the work print of Forbidden Planet was not. It was discovered in 1977. Differences are seen in characterization, dialogue, and scenes between the work print and the release print. Forbidden Planet was re-released to film theatres during 1972 as one of MGM's kiddie matinee features. It was missing about 6 minutes of film footage cut to ensure it received a G rating from the Motion Picture Association of America, including a 1950s-style muted scene of Anne Francis, which made it seem she swam without a bathing suit. Later video releases carry a G rating, although they are all the original theatrical version. The costumes worn by Anne Francis were designed by Helen Rose. Her miniskirts resulted in Forbidden Planet being banned in Spain. It was not shown there until 1967. Coming to the USA soon, folks. Robby the Robot was operated at first by diminutive stuntman Frankie Darrow. He was fired shortly after an early scene because of his having consumed a 5-martini lunch prior to the scene being shot. He almost fell over attempting to walk while inside the expensive prop.
I need that footage. I need to see
man
this
after my own heart. The film is considered to be a foundational masterwork in the science fiction genre and has become so ubiquitous that, among other things, it is referenced in the opening number of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, is essentially remade as Doctor Who story Planet of Evil, and has a famous chain of comic book and geek culture shops named after it. And in 2013, get your drinks ready, folks, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Indeed, and as we just realised and noted before recording, it's 70 years old this year. Who knew? Apparently I didn't until, moments ago. So, yeah, took a long time to be considered historically significant, but it's good that it's there after so long, and we can celebrate the 70th anniversary together with this review. No, I didn't really note it down in the in any kind of way, but when you said in the behind the scenes about the way that the film was cut, there were so many minutes of it cut for the kiddie matinee version. I did read that was the sort of scene of Anne Francis, yes, the kind of skinny dipping thing, but also the entire scene of the lieutenant supposedly, taking advantage of the socially uncultured and unaware Altair, as I think they put it in my research. You mean
like, Proto-Kirk?
Yeah. Well, I mean, proto somebody, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty dodgy.
Yeah, this is why this movie to me almost kind of reads like a feature length of a Star Trek, of like a early pilot. Because I mean, if we had a nickel for every time Kirk like try to show an unworldly woman the ways of humanity through romance.
Yeah, and it's always really cheesy and terrible. I mean, I was kind of thinking at times they were kind of going for a Han Leia type thing. Obviously not, copying Star Wars. It was long before it, but I was like, it's weird that they start off with this kind of, you're so naive, I hate you kind of thing, and then she falls for him based on that. And I'm like, was this in the 50s? Were we still doing that whole, like, if you like a girl, pull her pigtails and push her over?
As a cinephile and someone who's also been in and watched a lot of plays, I can tell you half of the love stories in any of that medium are usually, I hate you. No, I hate you. Well, I hate you more. Well, I hate you more. Kiss me.
Yeah, that sounds about right, actually. So I can kind of see what they were going for with that, although, like I said, it's very clunky at times. And I mean, the way that the lieutenant is all over her and the commanding officer's like, don't take advantage, blah, blah. And then at the very end, he's like, I need to have a word with you. And he's like, don't worry, she picked the right guy. And I was like, all right, okay, fine, I guess. We're over it, are we? Okay. I'm going to get, if that's okay with you guys, into the actual breakdown of the review of the film, which is the sections we always do, writing, plot, acting, directing, or whatever. But again, if it flows a different way, fair enough. If you're familiar with the podcasts, which you should be by now, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. So just bear with us. You can.
Although judging from the viewing figures, maybe not.
Well, you never know. People have at least made it this far, I hope. We're only about 20 minutes in, so we'll see. So, we're going to start with the writing and the plot, because I have a tiny bit of information. Is to say that the script was by Cyril Hume, but was based on a film story by Alan Adler and Irving Block. The screenplay was originally titled Fatal Planet. The later draft renamed the film Forbidden Planet because it was believed to have greater box office appeal and because Kim Basinger and Michael Douglas weren't around yet. The original script took place in the year 1976 on the planet Mercury. An Earth expedition headed by John Grant is sent to the planet to retrieve Dr. Adams and his daughter Dorian, who has been stranded there for 20 years. In this version, there is no Krell or a monster from the id. The invisible ape-like beast is simply a native of the planet Mercury. So... yeah, kind of a bit weak, I think, in initial draft form.
I'm glad that rewrite happened.
Yeah, it does feel a lot like this'll do, in a lot of places.
And now we're back to Doctor Who.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, even that should at least be a thesis or a theme or a point that they're going for. And I think the original script lacked that, so everything kind of makes this special, or that it's trying to say, came from the rewrites. I think it's fair to say it came from later drafts.
That's why it took 4 years. Normally, that came the age-old question: do you want it done quickly or do you want it done right?
Yeah, exactly right. So diving straight into the writing, then we'll talk about all over the place, but I kind of have to ask, because it's the first thing that occurs to me, that there was no kind of monster from the id. And what do you guys make of that? The idea that I think it's quite a sci-fi staple that there are monsters, but really it ultimately just reflects us and our own weaknesses and our own kind of our own monsters, I suppose. And so, Justin, what did you make of that? Do you remember thinking at the time it was kind of, is it unique, or is it a kind of, does it resonate, or did you just, did it wash over you a bit?
I mean, I will say, I guess, like, because I was like older and had consumed more sci-fi, it wasn't like, wait, what? Like he made his own. Whoa, it blows my mind. But but it didn't like blow my mind or anything like that. But I was like, but it did seem like very poetic and thematically appropriate, and it like still made a decent message. So I was like, yes, this is good. It wasn't I was like, I still liked it. I still appreciate it. And also the fact that, again, the classic, like that fact that we never see the monster, which I know was mostly for budgetary reasons, but but as they say, what you don't see is scarier than what you do see. And I think that allows our brain to fill in the gaps of like what that monster would, what the id might look like, if not for, any of the given characters, even for us, that's
yeah. Well, they also, I mean, like you said, they kind of try to use to their advantage the fact that you can't see it because you can picture something worse. But they do not just also, they little animated hints, but the things like the footprint that they find, which was just like, this animal would have been huge, and look at this claw, and it would have been a thing out of your nightmares. It would have been terrifying. but we only get the footprint, the foot cast of it that they took from the footprint, and I'm like, all right, okay, it's fully terrifying, but you can't see it, whatever. But I get what they're saying, what they're going for. Yeah. So what about you, D.K? What did you make of this kind of psychological aspect of the script?
I mean, I like it now, and it's one of those things that were pioneering that you would see again in things like Star Trek and stuff like that. As a kid, it was just, oh, cool monster. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you know, I must have been, 5? So the concept of the id at that point was for me just...
I mean, you must have registered, though, that it is from Mobius himself.
Oh, yeah. I got that. But I just, you know, as I say, at that age, I just thought, oh, that's cool. I didn't see it as, you know, pioneering or a staple because I'd not been exposed to that much sci-fi, and certainly not, you know, again and again over the years, as we've seen in various TV shows and things like that. So, I liked it. It was a different take on a monster, and I kind of dug that. I remember that.
Yeah, I think it works. I mean, even now, I think it really does. Like I said, even though it is kind of crude animation, the scenes itself, I think the way that the kind of sound effects and the acting and everything works together with it, I think makes it really, I mean, not terrifying. We're grown-ass men, but I can see why you would be if you were a child watching this. And it certainly is, like I said, interesting and compelling and has a bit of tension to it. So I can't really fault it for that. So I kind of have to talk briefly about the star of the show, the breakout star being Robby the Robot. And I mean, what do we make of Robby and the fact that not only, like you said, it's a pioneering special effect for the time, it's a unique creation. And for me, I was quite surprised that they kind of, without naming them, they basically have Asimov's laws of robotics in place with him, with the whole idea of like, he can't harm a person, even if I order him to, his programming won't allow him. So
I wish you'd have just said, rather than give that practical demonstration and possibly burn out the robot that you built.
Well, this is the thing. At the end of the film, he also orders the robot to kill the id monster and says, oh, Robby can't because he knows it's you, Dr. Mobius. And then he doesn't give Robby the order to stop, and he doesn't burn out. So either Mobius is just lying, or more likely the filmmakers just forgot.
Plot convenience.
Yeah, exactly. So, but no, I mean, what do you make of Robby in general, DK? Did you like him? Were you as a kid Robby. Were you really enamored by him?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, obviously by that point, I'd already seen things like Star Wars. So, I, you know, it was fairly easy to attribute personalities to robots on screen, but I would imagine at the time, this was like a novel concept because it said, you know, they were normally people in kind of tin cans lumbering around. And yeah, I mean, Robby does lumber around, but he does have that personality. And I think he's extremely lovable as a result. I don't know if any of you guys think that, but you just like, it's Robby, he's my homie.
I mean, I know that you love him because he can create gallons of free alcohol for you, but you know.
Well, I mean, you know, 60 gallons. Come on, that's a night out right there.
I love that Robby basically, even though you don't see it, it says that Robby just stayed and drank with him the whole time as well. So not only does he make you the alcohol, he'll be your drinking companion.
Oh, that's fantastic! I want a Robby. I want a Robby for myself.
Yeah, the cook guy says like, oh no, we sat and we toasted each other's health and we drank, and it's like, and you did that the whole night. Of course, you didn't think I could get that drunk in 5 minutes, did you? It's like, so hang on, you just polished off like 60 gallons of whiskey with your robot friend. It's just over one night.
See, that's a scene that should have stayed.
That's the deleted scene we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I mean, come on, he's your drinking buddy. He's your dressmaker. He'll make your food for you. He's got a Star Trek style replicator. If you just, give him any hint of food, he can recreate a full on meal and everything. So what's not to love? But as you said, the personality is just brilliant as well. And I don't want to spoil my one of my top lines for when we get to it. But even from the intro, when he's a little bit kind of jokey and sarcastic,
I like that. I try not to use it, sir. It promotes rust.
Exactly. Yeah, precisely. And again, talking about influences, the way that he's like, I am speaking in English, but if it is not appropriate, I'm programmed with various other forms of communication. I was like, oh, C-3PO, I get it. Yeah. So but no, very lovable as a character, and I mean, became wildly popular. So before I get into that a bit, Justin, what were your initial impressions of Robby, and do you kind of got an affection for him as well?
Oh yeah, of course. I totally used Robby as my icon, but DK beat me to it. So
I knew he would. That's why I didn't use it and used the Blu-ray cover instead as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, Leslie Nielsen said but anyway, yeah, and I appreciate it. I might go on a limb here when I'm saying this, but I would pitch that Robby is arguably, for me at least, the mascot for the sci-fi genre as a whole.
That's fair.
Yeah. I think just because Robby, I think, sits so perfectly in the middle of, like, you know, like you said, between that, you know, person in a tin can, like robot, and then the more sophisticated, like, you know, your 3POs or your, like, you know, K2SO from Rogue One or something like that. And also, like, but has, like, the Isaac Asimov robotic. And so it's like, he just looks sci-fi because he's in a sci-fi movie, but not everything in sci-fi
no, but
movies.
The design is iconic. I mean, in the same way that, you know, you see the design of a Dalek or, like you said, R2-D2 or whatever, and you just think that just feels right. No, it is. It's an iconic design for a reason. It just works.
Yeah, and I do appreciate, for all the problematic things we've talked about, I do appreciate, you know, when the cook's like, hey, is that thing a male or a female? And Robby says, you know, the question is totally without meaning. You know.
Yeah, in my case, the question is without meaning.
So wow. Like
non-binary ally Robby was ahead.
I was about to say, we have we in the 50s, we had a non-binary. I love that, you know, like I would love, like, you know, like typical woke Hollywood, am I right? You know.
But yeah, I mean, but what did you guys think of the whole, you know, can't harm a human type thing though? I mean, did it, because it's kind of known to us, did it not really register how, like, oh well, this is a unique kind of cool idea or whatever?
I don't know if I knew of Asimov's laws back then. I did think it was cool, but as soon as it did it on this playthrough, I was like, oh, Asimov, nice.
Yeah, no, I did the same, but as you said, I think it's a tiny bit cheesy and a bit ridiculous that the commander's just standing there when the doctor guy's like, oh, Robby, shoot and kill this man. And he's there like, well, try it. Okay. I was like, at least flinch a little bit. You don't know that he's not going to do it. You know what I mean? But, you know.
I mean,
it was Leslie Nielsen. I was half expecting him to go like, shoot me. Surely you can't be serious.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
about 30 years too soon. But
to do it. Yeah. Anyway. So, no, I mean, I appreciated it this time around as a big sci-fi nerd. I probably didn't register it either the first time, but it's a nice touch, and it is, you know, it's handy for the plot. And again, I think it's because they want Robby to be a hero, ultimately, isn't it? They don't want him to be the bad guy. Because I was quite surprised they went to all the trouble of saving him and showed him on the ship at the end and went, oh, wow, what a great astronavigator this guy is. It's like, you can't have any of the knowledge of the Krell. It's just too much for us, except this robot that I built. You're allowed him.
I will say, in an era where AI is 90% of the time suggesting nuclear strikes in armed conflicts, I appreciate it.
Yeah, true. If only we had AI that would just make us address. But not with Star Sapphires because they take too long. You'll just have to do it.
Yeah. See, I'm not sure how I feel about AI generated fashion, but that's personally, like, you know.
Well, get used to it. It's probably coming.
I accept the fact that it's probably on the way, but I also refuse to get used to it.
Fair enough.
I don't have to like it, but I accept the fact that it's here, but that doesn't mean I have to like it.
That's all right, I guess. So, yeah, the last thing I kind of have to mention is, I mean, we've touched on it a little bit, but this idea of the Krell, which, as I said, wasn't in the original script, I think is such a cool, thought-provoking sci-fi concept. And again, they go to all the trouble of being like, it must have looked very different to us. Look, we've got these, you know, upside-down Superman symbol doors and these things that our heads are just way too small for and everything. And, you know, they were a race that were so shining and so far beyond, but they couldn't get past their base instincts. And I just remember absolutely loving that from being a kid onwards, and that being like such a weird, cool, imaginative idea. Did you think the same way, DK, when you first saw the Krell kind of
did. And again, it's been used time and time in sci-fi since. Almost, you know, and as you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of concepts here that if you watch it, coming to this late and you're a sci-fi fan, you can be forgiven for just thinking, oh my God, we've seen all this before. But the reason we've seen it before is just because this was the pioneer.
Yeah, this was the first one to put it together. And as I said at the start, I mean, even the idea of a manned crew on a spaceship on a star voyage to another thing, I mean, it was unheard of. You know, there was no Star Trek, there was no Lost in Space or anything like that. So that within itself was people were like, wow. Yeah, I guess we could do that sometime in the future, you know. I mean, he's got a crew of only about 18, which I think is the only weird part, like, you know. And, you know, his ship is very obviously a stereotypical flying saucer, which isn't the best design, but other than that, you know.
I actually have a model of that, weirdly enough.
Do you?
Yeah, when I first moved here, there was a model shop on the next street, and they were having a sale, and they had they had that. So the X bought it, did it up. I mean, it's got all the flashing lights and everything. It's
cool. I love that scene where it lands. Excuse me, where it lands and the flashing lights are underneath it and everything. It's so cool. I wouldn't mind the model of that actually.
That is cool.
Awesome. So, what about you, Justin? Any thoughts on kind of the Krell plot that you had for us?
Yeah, no, excuse me. Yeah, no, I appreciate that because again, to me, that is so. And I know it wasn't a thing yet, but quintessential Star Trek in the sense that you basically are meeting a race that is like, for all intents and purposes, what humans of the 23rd century and beyond are. Where like, what's the quote he uses? I even wrote it down because I'm like, oh, that's so typical. Where it's like, oh yeah, the Krell abolish sickness, crime, injustice, and then turn to space. And I'm just like, oh, come on. But also, I like that they also like that they keep the touch that again Star Trek also does of like, yes, we got rid of those things, but that doesn't mean that they won't always exist within us.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's where I'm charitable towards the scenes of kind of people almost taking advantage of Altair, because I'm like, okay, maybe it fits into the theme of like, if you didn't have that level of control over your base instincts, you'd who knows how beastly we could get, and etc. But I mean, still clunkily done, not great, but I can kind of see why it might fit into the theme. And yeah, just the idea of it, like, oh, we're, like I said, in the 50s, people probably had no idea. I mean, the idea that the commander of the spaceship doesn't know what the heck the 8 is, you're just like, come on. But he understands the word like unconscious instead. And I'm like, but yeah, that was probably, I mean, these were probably weird, out there hippie ideas for the 50s,
Yeah.
So it's weird to think that, but it works. It works really well for me. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Because I have a couple of just brief questions for you guys about things that slightly baffled me in the film.
The only thing that kind of registered with me dialogue-wise was because it was in the 50s, it was very much that mindset of they're out there for conquest and colonization. So I thought, yeah, I didn't
hear that bit, but yeah, I suppose that probably makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, I remember it now. I did hear the words colonization, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that holds up because again, like, conquest and colonization. I was like, yeah, like that. Especially nowadays, I don't think that. I mean, because like, we're much more. I think people are much more savvy to the fact that people who we once called explorers were in truth colonizers.
In terms of like things that have dated poorly, I do think the line as well wouldn't really cut it today, where Leslie Nielsen's like, we all have this base instinct, and that's why we keep it in control with things like laws and religion. And I'm just like, do we?
Oh, Jesus.
No, if sometimes religion is the very thing that stokes that behavior.
Yeah, and as for laws, I mean, if you just flatly ignore them, it doesn't really have to affect anything, does it?
Yeah, no, like good people, like no. How many people have been like, well, I would have done it, but the law says I can't, so whoops.
Oh, I would have shot and killed that innocent protester, but law. Anyway, so yeah. Law and religion might have stopped us at one point, but I think we've kind of surpassed that, unfortunately, nowadays.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So maybe we need a new way to suppress the aid. Let's go to Altair 6 or 4 or whatever it is. That's maybe not.
Yeah, all of their knowledge, and somehow the Krell didn't pass on the knowledge of self.
They were destroyed. That's the point. They all destroyed themselves.
This is true. Like, I would think there would be some remnants of the concept of self-restraint, but I don't know.
No, they had nothing, so they just destroyed themselves. There's a lesson in that, perhaps, as well. If you don't control your base instincts, probably going to become extinct. Nice friendly thought for a Saturday afternoon when this goes out.
Yeah.
Enjoy, everyone.
Easy listening.
I mean, that's sci-fi, though, anyway. I mean, I mock, but that's the point. It's quite heavy thinking, isn't it? It gives you the chance to deal with these concepts in a way that is a little bit safer. And I love Forbidden Planet for being that kind of sci-fi. So yeah, the one thing I have to bring up is the only thing I have a question about, which is I'm not fully sure what's going on with Altair and the animals. Like, I get that it explains that the Earth animals are there because the Krell visited Earth and then deposited them on that planet, and okay, whatever, they survived somehow. But like, why does Altair control them Snow White style? And why, as soon as she's like had quote unquote relations, did they not recognize her and attack her? I'm like, there's potentially really weird, dodgy subtext in this, and I'm not sure if it's intended, so I don't want to judge it. but like, what the heck is going on here?
Okay. Yeah, it's like, is it like Solitaire and Live and Let Die, where like, you know, she sleeps with Bond and suddenly she can't predict the future anymore or something like that, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one way of reading it, is that, oh, you're no longer pure, so, you know, the purity of nature doesn't respond to you or whatever. The other way being, you know, maybe that whatever aid monster or whatever that, you know, is projected by her father is controlling the wildlife and stuff, and once she's no longer, you know, under his restraint or what have you, she's not under his protection, so the animals aren't docile, but he doesn't realize he's doing it, maybe. So, no, I mean, that's kind of as much as I had about a lot of the writing. I've kind of praised enough, I think, of what works and questioned some other things. So the next thing I wanted to talk about would be I think the direction I have down here, why not, which is by Fred M. Wilcox. I've got a few notes of my own, but I don't want to, you know, say something that you guys might want to say and end up blowing it too early. So I'm going to come to you, Justin, and ask, is there anything that stands out in the direction of this for you, or any kind of key moments that you noticed?
I mean, I will say it is well directed. I can't really pretend to know Fred Wilcox's filmography and style.
No.
Yeah, like it's very different. Like when we were talking about Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I'm much more intimately familiar with Spielberg and his history and his filmmaking style and personality. So I can't really pick up on any of Wilcox's, you know, filmmaking isms, so to speak, as I could. But I mean, I will say it definitely seems to me like he was very ambitious with the production and the script and the acting. Definitely didn't like half-ass anything, didn't cut any corners, you know, so I give him, you know, I was getting A for effort sounds very condescending and very like dismissive, but you know.
No, I know what you mean. I mean, you know, you've got to look at it, what resources were available to you at the time. You know, it's not like you're going to be making a film that would look great by, you know, 2020s standards, but 1956, you know.
Yeah, those are not the questions you can be asking yourself. Like, but wait, what's going to happen in 50 years when people are looking at this movie? Yeah. You don't have that kind of.
Why didn't you invent CGI for your movie, Mr. Wilcox? You know, like, all right, calm down. You know?
Yeah, well, I like. Did you ever think about the movie? Yeah. Do you think about the people who are going to be watching this movie after you're dead?
Yeah, probably. But no. So, what about you, DK? Anything that kind of stood out for you, or that you wanted to bring to our attention from the direction?
I like the shots of the saucer when it's flying and it's approaching the planet. I think they still kind of hold up. You know,
I agree.
1950s flying saucer notwithstanding, it's.
But even then, the scene where it lands just looks so cool.
It does. But I think. I mean, looking at this and looking at the, you know, as you mentioned earlier, the practical effects, it still looks like a lot of care and a lot of money went into it.
Yeah, for sure. And even little things like the way Robby's little speech grill lights up when he talks. But it's all like exactly in time with it and everything, which isn't easy. I mean, we've seen in the odd, like I said, Doctor Who episode, not to bring that up again, where it goes wrong and the Daleks are flashing, you know, pointlessly when there's no speech or they're out of sync or whatever. So little things like that can ruin a movie, but it works really well, you know. I did have a few things I wanted to bring up. First of all, when you first get the hint about the aid monster, I think it's really, again, we probably wouldn't think much of it now, but for the time, the idea that we're in the monster's point of view, and because we don't, you know, see anything of it, we are the monster. We are seeing through its eyes, and we can just hear the breathing. I think that is so effective, particularly in, you know, if you're going for a fear kind of horror type effect. And again, you don't have to show it that way because you are it. I've already mentioned I love the sort of VFX, the trick photography camera work, like the shuttle car travel, or, you know, like you said, the shutters that close and stuff, the opening and closing of the doors, things like that. I have to say, the underground area, the Krell City, is just so impressive. It's absolutely incredible. The sense of scale that you get from it, which is it can't all be there. I mean, it's probably 90% matte painting, which again, by the way, matte painting of the planet, also gorgeous. But yeah, that underground city is just, you can see why it's become huge. And again, I haven't written it down in any of the BTS, but I read somewhere that the filmmakers of RoboCop, which we recently reviewed, do please go watch that review. It needs the views. The filmmakers of RoboCop wanted to make the OCP headquarters look as much like the underground Krell City as possible, because it was just lodged in their brain as like this, you know, wild concept that signified oppression, but also this wonder and this wild sense of scale and everything. And I was like, yeah, I can see why that would be stuck in your head if you're a filmmaker or somebody that does production. And again, little touches, but the way that when the monster attacks the ship and it's going up the stairs. You see the steps buckle under the pressure, but there's nothing there. And I don't know how that's done, and I don't want to know because it's so cool. I mean, again, it's probably a piece of string pulling like a little rubber step or something, but it just, as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, that is amazing. That is so cool, you know?
Yeah.
And, I've already mentioned, I think the monster attack, as much as it's Disney animation and stuff, I think it really works. It looks just excellent. I think it works anyway for me. So, but again, I was very young when I first saw it, so
no, I think it does. I think it. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely do as well, for sure. So
it does leave me asking, how did they do that with like the crow machine in the city and all that? Because, like at that time, because it does look amazingly like not dated at all or anything like that.
Yeah, no, for sure, it does. And as you said, in-house effects is all you had basically. So for sure. So yeah, the next thing we kind of would want to touch on, then I would think would be the acting, because we haven't really mentioned it. Obviously, the first thing to mention is Leslie Nielsen. This is long before his more famous parody acting career. Which I remember, again, when I first saw this, I was 14 years old, and it's well after he was known for Airplane, Naked Gun, etc. So I remember when I first saw this, I was genuinely shocked he was a dramatic actor first. And it kind of took me a while to readjust to like, wait, this isn't a comedy, but Leslie Nielsen's the star of it, kind of thing. So because he's ubiquitous. I mean, even going into like Dracula Dead and loving it and stuff like that. It's all he did in the latter days of his career, isn't it? So yeah. So did you guys have a similar thing, or did you come to it, without that baggage?
Yeah, no, I actually because of that, I in more ways than one had a hard time recognizing him. Also because we're used to seeing him with white hair as a generation. So seeing him with dark hair was another hurdle mentally that I had to. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't think of many actors who have such a hard pivot line in their careers from as in first half is dead serious and second half is just goofball comedy. I can't think of any other actor who has a career like that where it's they just flip the switch halfway through in that.
I mean, because he is so known for parody. I mean, it seems like he only worked with Zucker, Abrams, and Zucker after a certain point. And we had to think of him as the kind of romantic leading man, but apparently, I mean, I'm told by my parents and others that he was in the 50s and 60s. So who knew? I have to confess, I'm not familiar with any of the other cast other than from this movie. That's probably a bit ignorant of me, but the only way I know Anne Francis's name is from the science fiction song at the start of Rocky Horror. But she's great. I mean, she's a gorgeous woman, and I was pleased to find in the course of my research that she lived for quite a while, to a fair old age, and always kind of had respect for Forbidden Planet. She did an interview where somebody asked her, why do you think it's been so enduring? And she said, from the start, we were all directed to take it seriously. And I was like, that's, again, it seems like a small thing, but in sci-fi, that is actually a big bloody deal, not playing it a bit arch or a bit tongue-in-cheek. So points to her for that. And just a stunning looking woman. Then and, into her old age. I mean, what did you think of Anne Francis, Justin?
Yeah, I'll say she looked, to me, she just again, no... Shake would look like what you would imagine every other leading lady in the 50s, or especially in a sci-fi movie of that era to look like, just from the hairstyle, the figure, and the clothes, and all of that. I mean,
fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's the time. I mean, that's the thing. Female standards of beauty changed so much over time, from weight to height to the particular look or whatever. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't really have a lot of notes on the rest of the cast. Then, just like I said, Leslie Nielsen surprised me, and I was shocked at how much of a dick he was. I think they were going for, like I said, the kind of Han Solo or the old styly, I hate you, I love you, oh, hold me, kind of thing. But
I don't remember him being so abrasive the first time I watched it.
And I didn't remember, like you said, the lieutenant that was just watch out for that guy, that commanding officer. He's a bit of a bad one, that guy. Hang on a minute. And then again, at the end of the movie, it's we're all good. You just badmouthed the crap out of him, man. He's your CO at the end of the day. Very odd. What else? Let's see. Warren Stevens as Doc Ostro. I don't think gets a lot to do, but I had to say, as soon as he started running for that IQ machine that he was told was going to kill him, I was like, "You freaking idiot! What did you expect was going to happen?"
Oh, no.
the original red shirt. Am I right? Oh.
Yeah, and it's Jack Kelly who plays Lieutenant Jerry Farman, the creepy kind of like, oh, let me introduce you to kissing. I'm not that harmless, kind of, let's be honest, the pretty dodgy, the one guy that shouldn't be on that ship. I hate to be critical, as you know, but I have to say, Earl Holliman playing the cook, he's really bad.
Oh.
He's the only one in this that's just so arch and over the top and clownish and like. I get that's what the script asks him to do because he's like, oh, I'm so drunk and make me the alcohol robot man.
He's straight out of a 1950s naval picture.
I think that's generous, to be honest, isn't it? Really?
So, I mean, For Implant is a 1950s movie, just is it a different kind of genre? So, like, just somebody tell him, hey, enemy below is shooting at the next lot over or something like that.
Yeah, maybe he just wandered over.
But even that, though, it's so cartoonish, it feels like he actually belongs in like a Tom and Jerry picture or something. It's like, oh, gee, robot, oh, you're my best friend. Thanks for making me that whiskey. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I won't question why the robot feels the need to reproduce all of the completely pointless glass bottles and labels on the alcohol, but, you're thorough. I'll give you that, Robbie.
Authenticity, believability, immersion.
Yeah. And so other than that, as I said, it's just basically, Walter Pidgeon I have to mention as Dr. Edward Morbius. I think he's actually really good. You can tell he is taking it seriously, and he's got that great deep voice and the presence that you got from those old timey, like he's probably a theater actor. I haven't looked it up, but I'm sure he probably is because he projects really well, and I was always impressed with him, and I think I still am. Especially when he's got to sell that whole, like, it's a monster from me. Oh, no. My other self is at the door and I can't stop him. And I'm like, yeah, you're selling it. I'll give you it. But he's brilliant in those opening scenes of introducing everybody to his house and, being the kind of grumpy old recluse that just wants to be left alone. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I do see his point there.
Well, and again, he does have a robot that can reduce gallons of alcohol for him while he's being left alone.
See, I would be set on Altair IV.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to share that with anyone either.
Yeah. Oh, well. Just makes you wonder why he wasn't like, yeah, my daughter, take her. Go.
Yeah.
Leave me in peace. Jeez.
I've got a real big to be read pile.
Yeah.
Altarian Netflix isn't going to watch itself.
Yeah. Although, let's be honest, like all those times when Robby said he was giving himself an oil job, I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? Because the cook says that at one point. It's like, oh, anytime you find yourself in need of a few quick globs of oil or whatever, or an oil job, you come and see me. After giving him the alcohol, I was like, is that all it takes?
Pot, lid for every pot.
Few drinks and you're any robots. The other things I think are just basically voice roles, but it's worth mentioning them. So you've got Marvin Miller uncredited as the voice of Robby the Robot and Les Tremaine as the uncredited narrator. Both good. Both don't have loads to do, although I think Robby probably more so. But they're both incredibly effective as voice actors. So yeah. So any last thoughts on the acting then before I move to the VFX production design part?
No, like you said, I think it's mostly Leslie Nielsen's.
Yeah, it's a very small piece. It's not like a huge ensemble cast. I mean, there are loads of people listed in the cast list, but I can't see any of them had any real impact. I mean, they maybe get the odd line here or there, the various members of the ship crew, but they don't do a whole lot. And a few of them are just there to be killed, let's be honest. So.
Yeah, exactly. I would say, to segue into production value somewhat, I would say given the cast and the fact that it's based on The Tempest, I'm surprised this hasn't been produced as a stage play in some form, because it would be very easy, I believe. The transition to the stage would be relatively seamless, I believe. Not much would get lost. I mean, I don't envy the prop department who has to make the Robby costume, but apart from that...
Well, I've seen some really weak attempts to do those kinds of things that, somebody would just be holding a cardboard cutout of Robby in front of them or something.
Okay.
Sure they could do it. So, yeah. But no, I did want to get into the VFX production design because I have quite a bit of BTS stuff on that, which I think is fascinating and speaks to how kind of, forward-thinking it was in some ways. So Forbidden Planet's effects team was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Special Effects at the 29th Academy Awards. The film sets were constructed on an MGM soundstage at its Culver City film lot. They were designed by Cedric Gibbons and Arthur Lonergan. The film was shot entirely indoors, which I think was impressive to know, with all the Altair IV exterior scenes simulated using sets, visual effects, and matte paintings, which I think are gorgeous. As the art director of the film, Lonergan took the liberty to build sets that were much larger than the budget allowed. The sets were already half done when the budget department found out. Too late to do anything about it. That's a guy after my heart right there. Like, well, what are you going to do, huh? Already done. Give me the money or, no film. Yeah. A full-sized mock-up of roughly 3/4 of the starship was built to suggest its full width of 170 feet or 51 meters. The ship was surrounded by a huge painted cyclorama featuring the desert landscape of Altair IV. This one set took up all of the available space in one of the Culver City sound stages. Wow. At a cost of roughly $125,000, Robby the Robot was very expensive for a film prop at the time. It represented almost 7% of the film's $1.9 million budget. Can I stop there and say $1.9 million budget? Today, that would barely be an art house film.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it equates to at least $1 million in 2017 dollars, which is when this was written. Both the electrically controlled passenger vehicle driven by Robby and the truck tractor crane offloaded from the Starship were also constructed especially for this film. As I've alluded to earlier, the animated sequences of Forbidden Planet, especially the attack of the Id Monster, were created by veteran animator Joshua Meador, who was loaned to MGM by Walt Disney Productions. According to a BTS featurette on the film's DVD, a close look at the creature shows that it's got a small goatee beard, suggesting the connection to Dr. Morbius, who is the only character that has that physical feature. Unusually, the scene in which the Id Monster is finally revealed during its attack on the Earth ship was not created with traditional cell animation. Instead, Meador simply sketched each frame of the entire sequence in black pencil on animation stand translucent vellum paper. Each page was then photographed in high contrast so that only the major details remained visible. These images were then photographically reversed into negative, and the resulting white line images were tinted red, creating the effect of the Id Monster's body remaining largely invisible, with only its major outlines illuminated by the energy from the force field and blaster beams. Wow, I mean, we mock it, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the monster was considered so scary that in some states its image was edited out of the film so as not to frighten children. And Meador was also responsible for the other visual effects like the ray gun beams and the disintegration of the tiger and various things. So, yeah, any thoughts about any of that other than, I mean, I'm just kind of registering that now. Like I said, I mocked the supposed Disney animation style, but that's a lot of work. That guy went above and beyond, so any thoughts on that? And, yeah.
I still think it holds up. I agree. I might be in the minority, but yeah, I still think it holds up.
No, I agree. I mean, like I said, I'm never sure if it's just me being blinkered as a kind of sci-fi fan or just somebody that saw the film relatively young or whatever, but I think the matte paintings are gorgeous, the cyclorama around the ship, the actual sets, like I said, the set of the Krell laboratory or whatever you want to call it underground, it all to me looks amazing. And when you think, again, 70 years old now, come on, it's so impressive.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Justin, or do you have some criticism for us just to be a little bit awkward?
Yeah, no. Well, I can be awkward without criticism, but but that's a separate discussion. No, I was gonna say, I actually think it does a very good thing of both being like impressive for the time and looking great, and also being like a very nice or being a very nice like time capsule, so to speak, of like what visuals were like before like Industrial Light and Magic was in every movie and that sort of thing. And it was very interesting. I couldn't help myself. I very quickly put into the inflation calculator the $1.9 million budget. That's about $23 million today. So which is
still next to nothing when you think. I mean,
yeah.
The budgets for the big movies nowadays, the Marvels and the Mission Impossibles, are like $300 million.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that really, in more ways than one, puts things into perspective.
That's incredible how much you make your money go. And like I said, that one guy who was just building sets that were far too big, thinking, what are they going to do? They're already built now.
I want to see that behind the scenes footage of like they just walk in and he's like, so what you gonna do now? Just being like,
I picture him somewhere. It's 1950, so he's probably propped up against a wall with a cigarette dangling from his lips, and some kind of money guys walking around going, "This is far too big," and he's just like takes a drag and goes, "Whoops."
that is now my head canon. That just makes so much sense, and it's so entertaining that for the rest of my life I will say that is exactly what happened.
Whoop, I made a whoops there, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, looks like someone made a whoops-a-daisy.
Exactly, yeah.
Puts the cigarette back in his mouth, just smirking while it...
But But yeah, I mean, it's safe to say, I think we're all pretty impressed. We have nothing negative really to say about the VFX production design, especially for the time.
No.
So I'll move on to another kind of pioneering thing, which is the music and the sound. The film was groundbreaking as the first of any genre to use an entirely electronic musical score, courtesy of Bebe and Louis Barron. It became MGM's first production to have its score produced outside of the studio lot. While the theremin had been used on the soundtracks of the 1945 film Spellbound and the aforementioned The Day the Earth Stood Still in 1951, the Barons are credited with creating the first completely electronic film score, preceding the development of analog synthesizers by Robert Moog and Don Buchla in the early 1960s. I think music fans will probably know more than me about all of that. Louis Barron constructed his own electronic circuits that he used to generate the score's bleeps, blurps, whirs, whines, throbs, hums, and screeches. Not my words. That's what I read. Making heavy use of ring modulation. After recording the basic sounds, the Barons further manipulated them with reverberation, delay filters, and tape manipulations. I can't say much except I think it really works for the atmosphere, the kind of waveform type sounds, except in one instance, which, if I'm being critical, was the love scene between Leslie Nielsen and Anne Francis when he finally does, kiss her and just after she's come out of the pool and everything. And I was like, okay, this is really distracting because it doesn't fit the tone and the way it's got this like woo going on. I was like, all right, tone it down. But it's the only time it doesn't work. The rest of the time, it really gives you the atmosphere of, like I said, the planet and the open space and the futuristic sci-fi-ness of it all. So, DK, you're a music guy. What do you make of the music for this?
It's unusual, but it is, again, it's pioneering, and I do like the fact that they don't open the credits by saying score by or orchestral by. It's like electrical tonalities by. I really like that. I thought, oh, that's a nice little way of phrasing it.
Yes. I want to do that. I want to become a musician, and just when somebody asks me, just what do you do for a living? I make electrical tonalities.
Yeah. It's effective, as you say, not so much in the love scene, but the part where it stood out to me is where Robby's first appearing. Well, not Robby himself, but you see the car in the background going at tremendous speeds, and you hear it, and you think, "Oh, this works really well."
Yeah, I thought it did, and any thoughts on the music or the sound effects from you, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I like I noticed, or maybe it's one of those things where like the soundtrack just fits so naturally into the movie that I hardly noticed it. Because I think the first time I even noticed any music was, when Robby's serving the drinks and whatnot, and like because I think the music really heightens the comedy of the scene by playing over that. Where I'm like, oh wow, this puts some real life into it because it just seemed more or less to be like a lot of ambient bleeps and blorps, which by no means. Which is by no means it was very suitable. It works very well. So that's not a dig. Like not every movie needs to have like a John Williams orchestral like score. Although wouldn't it be nice if all movies did? But that's beside the point. But
but it's true what you said. I mean, even the ambient noise, like you said, the bleeps and the bloops of the background, or the kind of electrical noises when they go to the Krell city and all of the machinery's working and whirring away. It works really well. It all brings life to these things. And as a final note on the sound, I have to say, I should hate this, but kudos to whoever it is that made the robot burp after he first tasted the alcohol. Yeah. Makes zero sense, but it does make me laugh every single time.
That's great. I didn't even realize that was a burp because it's not one of those things you think about.
I knew it was, but I laugh every time. It's like, the cook's really upset because he's taken his last bit of whiskey, poured it down. He's like, hey, don't do that. He just goes, oh, yeah, simple alcoholic compound. Anyway, so yeah, any last thoughts on anything at all before I start getting into our favorite things and then talk about the critics and the legacy of this thing?
No, I think you've covered everything.
Well, just switch it up then before we talk about like anybody else's thoughts. I want to do what I always do on my Silver Screen episodes, which is to go around and ask your favorite character, favorite moment, and favorite line from the film. And Justin, you're the guest, so I think it's only fair to ask you first. So, would you like to start with your favorite character?
Well, I got to go with Robby.
That seems fair. I can't really even ask you to elaborate any further on that because it just seems blindingly obvious. So,
it's Robby. Come on.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite moment or scene?
I would say for me personally, I think my favorite is like when they first do go into like the Great Krell Machine City area because I think it really like it just kind of is a great amalgamation of the themes. Like it's kind of like a lot is revealed, and it just like is almost for me like the thematic climax of the movie before, or maybe not the thematic climb, but like it feels like things have really opened up, and the visuals are just very, like I said, besides the visuals are amazing, not just for the time, but just in general. And so it's just great production design there. And because, we get to see it's been like really well built up. And so it just kind of feels like it's very peak for the movie to me,
That's fantastic.
Even if Robby isn't there.
No, I can see what you mean though. And do you have a favorite line, or is nothing particularly register in your brain for this?
I will say for me, I do like Robby's response to the question about gender by saying, in my case, the question is totally without meaning, because I feel like that's just so great and progressive, especially for the 50s, to basically be like, not everything has to be male or female, there is.
Exactly. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's a good call, actually. Awesome. Okay, so over to you then, DK. You know what I'm going to ask, so starting with character, please.
It's got to be Robby. It's got to be Robby.
Yeah.
The scene, again, Krell City.
Yeah.
It's just impressive to me. So yeah, I love that. The line, it's Robby again. It's one of two. It's either going to be the I don't use it myself, so it promotes Rust, which I love how he delivers that, or it's the one about or the oil job.
Fair enough. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be too shocking for anybody. My favorite character, it's 3 out of 3 for Robby. I do like how kind of Altair becomes a bit more of a forward-thinking, almost feminist character who decides her own destiny and stuff, even after she's kind of fallen for the guy being a jerk. But how can it not be Robby? It's Robby the Robot. He's so cool. And my favorite moment, there are so many little touches that I could pick, but it would feel like kind of silly to be like, oh, this, I've kind of mentioned them all, but the way the ship lands, or the stairs creak, or the little things like that. So if I'm going to pick one bigger moment, it would actually be the monster attack on the camp, which I think is it's a breathtaking combination of animation, visual effects, stunts, sounds, and acting, and it just still works for me. And my favorite line, the second choice that I had on here was genuinely also the oxygen. I never use it myself, so it promotes Rust. But my top choice, and I don't know why it makes me laugh, but it just does. It's when they're first arriving on the planet, and one of the guys on the ship just goes, "Oh, one of those nothing planets. There's nothing to do except throw rocks at tin cans, and we got to bring our own tin cans." I don't know why it's so evocative and so funny for me. So, yeah. Well, I'll move us then. We've given off kind of favorite things. We'll give our conclusions and stuff later. But I'm going to move to the next section then, which is our critics' reviews of the film. As you'll know, if you're a regular listener of Cinema Classics, I don't tend to ask the audience's opinion because it feels like being classics, they'd be a bit redundant. They're probably going to be majorly, positive. And I'm always more intrigued what the critics make of this at the time and, in recent years. So to give you the critics' feedback of this, on Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds a rating of 92%, based on 52 reviews from critics, averaging 8.2 out of 10. Bosley Crowther of the New York Times wrote that everyone who worked on the film certainly, quote, had a barrel of fun with it. And if you've got an ounce of taste for crazy humor, you'll have a barrel of fun too. Harrison's reports called the film weird but fascinating and exciting, with highly imaginative production. Philip K. Scheuer of the Los Angeles Times wrote that the film was more than another science fiction movie with the emphasis on fiction. It is a genuinely thought-through concept of the future, and the production MGM has bestowed on it gives new breadth and dimension to that time-worn phrase, out of this world. John McCartan of The New Yorker called the film a pleasant spoof of all the moonstruck nonsense the movies have been dishing up about what goes on among our neighbours out there in interstellar space. All right. The Monthly Film Bulletin of Britain praised the film as an enjoyably thoroughgoing space fantasy, adding, in tone, the film combines naivete with sophistication, approaching its interplanetary heroics with a cheerful consciousness of their absurdity that still allows for one or two genuinely weird and exciting moments, such as the monster's first advance on the spaceship. Okay. The Philadelphia film critic Steve Friedman, Mr. Movie, told interviewers that Forbidden Planet was his favorite film. He watched it 178 times. Dude, I'm not even close to that. Pauline Kael called it the best of the science fiction interstellar productions of the 50s and says Caliban has become a marvelously flamboyant monster out of Freud. Pure age. It's a pity that the film didn't lift some of Shakespeare's dialogue. It's hard to believe you're in the heavens when the diction of the hero, Leslie Nielsen, and his spaceship mates flattens you down to Kansas. genuinely have no idea what she's on about. That didn't bother me at all. Okay. Film historian Lee Pfeiffer wrote, much beloved by sci-fi fans, Forbidden Planet creaks with age, does it? But if viewed in the context of the time in which it was produced, it remains quite impressive. Forbidden Planet is an intelligent sci-fi entry, even if the performances are sometimes over the top. Well, again, maybe only one. The American Film Institute nominated the film as one of its top 10 science fiction films, and the score was also nominated for AFI's 100 Years of Film Scores. And because it's a special case, being a movie that I'm kind of, I have a fond affection for, and a movie that I think has influenced a heck of a lot, I did also task DK with a little bit of work on the legacy of the film and added a little bit myself. So, DK, if you'd like to take it away and explain some of what the legacy of this film has become over the last 70 years.
Yeah, no worries. In the authorized biography of Star Trek, creator Gene Roddenberry, biographer David Alexander notes that Forbidden Planet was an inspiration for Star Trek. In the opening scene of the movie, the navigator says, "We'll reach DC point at 1701. Registration number."
But yeah.
Oh, all right. The registration number for the USS Enterprise NCC 1701. There were many references to Altair IV in Star Trek. In a scene from Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, Dr. McCoy visits a bar and orders Altair water. References to Forbidden Planet also appear in The Tommyknockers, Discworld, Robocop, Babylon 5, The Time Tunnel, The Outer Limits, Serenity, and Castle. In video games, it's referenced in Fallout, New Vegas, and Mass Effect. Iron Maiden have a song based on the film called Out of the Silent Planet. Author George R.R. Martin cites Forbidden Planet as his favourite science fiction film and states that he owns a working full-size Robby the Robot replica. I'm jealous.
Can we all steal it and hold it hostage until he finishes those frickin' books?
No, I'll just steal it. I could care less. Several props from the film were reused in episodes of The Twilight Zone. Robby the Robot makes many cameo appearances in TV and film. Examples include episodes of The Perry Como Show, Hazel, The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, The Twilight Zone, The Banana Splits, Mork and Mindy, Wonder Woman, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Act 2, Lost in Space, Space Academy, The Thin Man, Project UFO, and The Love Boat, as well as the films Cherry 2000, Gremlins, The Invisible Boy, Invasion of the Neptune Men, Hollywood Boulevard, and Dunyayi Kutaran Adam. I presume is that a Bollywood thing?
I think it's a Bollywood film, yeah.
That I want to see. He's appeared on numerous magazine covers, record sleeves, and TV commercials. On November the 2nd, 2017, the original Robby the Robot prop was offered for auction by Bonhams, and he earned $5.3 million US, including the buyer's premium. It set a new record for Bonhams auction, surpassing the $4 million earned for a Maltese Falcon 4 years earlier, making it the most valuable film prop ever sold at auction.
And clearly it sold for like almost 4 times it cost to make the movie. Which is
that's
baffling thought when you think about it. Yeah, obviously, inflation and everything, but still, that's. I mean, I can see why it sold for as much, and it's the the highest selling film prop at auction. But still, wow, $4 million, impressive. I'd love to know who bought it. I'm guessing it's not George R. Martin. But hey,
yeah.
So yeah, any thoughts on the legacy then, DK? Anything from there that shocks you?
Not that shocks me, although Castle.
Yeah.
How did they fit that one in?
I've got no idea. You can look it up and there is ways to find out, but I'm sure, it definitely does happen. I'm guessing Nathan Fillion must be a fan because it's in Serenity somewhere as well, Robby the Robot. So, yeah, I don't know. That's the only link I can find.
Fair enough. It is one of my favourite scenes in Gremlins, to be honest, when it flicks to the scene and there's Robby and then the time machine in the background. Yeah.
Definitely. I have to say, I don't know how how Robby appears in Babylon 5 either, but I'm kind of intrigued, and I'm sure you'll look it up being a fan.
I don't. I mean, I've watched the series several times, and I can never once remember that. So I'm gonna have to look that up.
Well, he's in there apparently. I mean, some of these are posters or vague appearances, but he's there, and just impressive. What about you, Justin? Anything there shock you, or anything you're intrigued to go and check out and see if you can find Robby?
Yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me at all that, Robby has almost become like the sci-fi hidden Mickey of the genre, so to speak. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. And I actually think, I'm not sure if this counts, but I do know distinctly that in the pilot of TNG Encounter at Farpoint, there is a reference to Altair IV.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of those, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which, so I don't think Robby makes it, but I'm pretty sure that's a Forbidden Planet reference. If not, it's a hell of a coincidence, but I'm pretty sure it's not a coincidence.
No, it definitely is. Like I said, Altair Water is mentioned, Altair IV is mentioned, and the fact that I had no idea until I was researching it and then listened out for the line that at the start of the movie they do say, reaching DC point at 1701, and I was like, that's where he got the Enterprise number from. It wasn't random at all. Like, it's a reference to Forbidden Planet, which I'm now never going to forget.
Yeah, I know, exactly. That just makes so much sense. And so, like I said, none of that is surprise to me. I mean, Forbidden Planet is practically like, we used to get is the binding, the stitching that holds the fabric of sci-fi together in a way.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so, right, then, as I said, it's just about time to land this here spaceship. So we're just going to finish up, as we always do, with our conclusions and our scores out of 5 intergalactic stars. Justin, you're our guest. So, again, I'll come to you first and defer here. Do you have a conclusion and a score out of 5, please, for us?
I mean, I'd say it's a damn solid movie all around. Like, wouldn't have it any other way. Mine is still slightly like problematic things that don't date as well. So I'm gonna maybe mark it down just a little bit for that. But but because it also did give us non-binary icon Robby the Robot, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Awesome. I love that. Brilliant. And DK, do you have a conclusion and a score for us?
It's not a very big conclusion, but I'm just saying, it's a fantastic sci-fi film that still holds up today. Special effects still work for me. It's difficult sometimes with movies like this because even though it's pioneering, they cannot hold up as well. So you feel a little guilty giving it a higher score. But I think, watching it now, and like I said, I haven't watched this in 40 some years. It still holds up tremendously well. So I feel quite comfortable in giving this one a 5.
Ooh. Awesome. So mine then, if I get ready to read this out, my conclusion is it's the sci-fi keystone. It can't be overstated how important Forbidden Planet is to the genre and its evolution. The core ideas are all here. A human crew on a faster-than-light voyage, laser blasters, beaming technology, and a familiar mechanical companion complete with Asimov safeguards. It all begins here. But just as importantly, at its heart, this seemingly far-fetched and wondrous genre is about us. Sci-fi reflects the human condition through a lens just distant enough to make it clearer. The film spells it out for us here. Monsters from the id. For all the alien technology and dazzling concepts, the true threat is humanity's base instincts left unchecked. So much of this still mesmerizes me. The pacing feels pitch perfect. It hooks you, lets you settle into the world, then delivers a knockout third act that crystallizes its thesis. The sets, matte paintings, effects, stunts, the sheer directorial vision remain breathtaking. My one issue, as I mentioned, lies in the film's initial treatment of Altair. In the joy of youthful discovery, I didn't clock how problematic it is. It's a shame that something so forward-thinking in many ways is simultaneously so backwards. If I'm charitable, I could argue it's a clumsy attempt to feed into the id theme. Explainable, perhaps, but not excusable. I don't want to hand-wave it away, even with so much artistic brilliance on display. But for me, there is just enough purpose, distance in time, later recalibration, and awareness of its own error, like the scene being cut from the future Kiddie matinee release, to let the highs outweigh my discomfort, though I fully understand anyone who feels differently. To end on the positive, the iconic Anne Francis is luminous, Walter Pidgeon is commanding, and Robby the Robot obviously steals every scene he's in. Forbidden Planet made my imagination soar. It still takes my breath away and leaves me pondering heady ideas. Science fiction 101 and essential viewing for any fan of the genre. And I also gave it a 5 out of 5, DK, despite some of my reservations. So
I was a little worried there. I was thinking, okay, where's this going?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't want to seem like I'm hand-waving the problematic elements away, but the fact that the film itself recognized them, cut them from future releases, and kind of vaguely redeems it by the end, I think, and again, just so much excellent stuff there that I think that you can't deny. So yeah, I'm comfortable giving it a 5. It's just one of my favorite movies anyway, as well, because I'm a sci-fi fan. So yeah. Adding those together and dividing by the 3 of us here then gives a final score for Forbidden Planet of 4.8 out of 5. Very impressive, I think. So
pretty good.
I'm overjoyed with that. I'm really happy with that, actually. Yeah. So can't really say fairer than that one. And And so as we lift off and leave Altair IV behind us, it just remains for me, first of all, to thank anybody who's listened to this all the way through, any regular listeners, subscribers. We need all the help we can get, so please do spread the word. That's how we get more people to watch this. There's a lot of film review criticisms and things out there, so please, if you do enjoy us, let people know. And again, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. You can find all the links to our social media in the link tree in the episode description, where you can also find links to our merch store on TeePublic. There's a lot of really cool merch there that you can be grabbing from Silver Screen on from all three of our different shows. And again, you can become a channel member for as little as $2.99 a month and get things like extra emoji perks for chat, super chat capability, extended episodes, early access, or the chance to pick a film for us to review in future. So also worth considering, and helps keep the lights on around here as we hang slightly by a thread at the moment and try to recalibrate.
Or we can, they can even come on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're looking for guests as well. So again, if you want to be a guest, if you want to pick a movie and guest on the show, absolutely, if you get in touch with us, if you'd like to just be a guest on any of ours, if you want to be a guest and pick the episode, $2.99 a month, go for it. So hopefully we'll see you again here for the next one, which I'll mention in a second. But first of all, thank you so much to both of my my co-voyagers, shall we say here. First of all, thank you again, DK, for turning up for this one.
Welcome. I have enjoyed it. It's I'm now off to search for 60 gallons of liquor.
I don't doubt it. So
I want a Robby so bad.
Oh boy.
Did you have anything you wanted to shout out? Any upcoming projects to mention, or anything you wanted to, anywhere people can find you, anything like that?
No, just the usual cult classics, where we seem to be having a double episode month at the moment. So please join in. As Mike said, we really need some viewing figures. I don't know what's gone off, but please join us, because we do have a laugh, and we hopefully if this has entertained you, you'll have a laugh on those too.
Yeah, I have to second that as well. The cult classics that have been out in the last sort of few months have been really fantastic, and they all deserve way better views than they're getting. And they're all films that I thought would be popular, things like RoboCop, or I'm blanking on all of the Office Space, which didn't do nearly as well as it should have, or
The Lost Boys, and Bill and Ted. Good grief! I mean, come on, folks.
That's going back to last year, but I mean, even just this year, there's as you've been doubling up, and I will mention the ones that are coming up. Don't worry, because we've still got another couple. So keep an eye on just Silver Screen Podcast channel in general, because the cult classics are just as good, I promise, if not better, than the cinema classics and the Silver Screen regulars. Speaking of which, do also check out our Scream 2 review on the Silver Screen Podcast regular. It's the same feed, but it's a different show. So enjoy
subscribe to the one feed and you get them all.
I know,
basically,
exactly.
Buy one, get two free.
Exactly. What more could you possibly ask for? So, and thank you so much again to Justin for joining us again for this one. I've really enjoyed having you back here, Justin. Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, of course I enjoyed myself. It's always a good time here.
Awesome. So you will come back again sometime then?
Oh, no, of course.
Awesome. And again, did you have anything you wanted to plug, or anywhere people can find you on the internet?
Okay, yeah, you can find me at Justin Avery Smith on all the meta apps, and then the non-meta apps, for some reason, I have to be Just Avery Smith. They aren't as generous. One of the few times Zuckerberg has shown generosity is letting me use my full name in my handles. But
you're lucky there's not somebody else called Justin Avery Smith, clearly.
Yeah, well, there's already a few Justin Smiths, so hence why I have to use the middle name. But and shameless plug, my solo show, Revenge of the Soy Boy, will be at the New York Fringe Festival in April. It is Star Wars themed, of course, and so it's catch that. Go to the Frigid website, the New York Fringe Festival. It's only a half-hour show. You can live stream it from anywhere.
Brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. So you can, but if you're in the New York area in April, you can also see it in person under St. Mark's. People who live in New York will know what that is. So, shameless plug. Please go see it. It's my first ever solo show, first ever Fringe Festival. I'm very nervous, and I would really use butts in seats to fly fighter in my ass to do well.
Well, I mean, please share any links that I can share in the episode description for that to get people to either watch or turn up. If I was there, the title alone has sold me, so I'm going to be looking into watching it.
Did you say it's on live stream?
Yeah, like I say, it will be streamed. I'm pretty sure. I think it depends on which. I think you want to get some. I don't think every single performance will be streamed. I got an email from the Fringe people who were like, I think for the first week or two of the festival, they're like, "Oh, sorry, we can't," but you can generally. And generally speaking, you can live stream it from anywhere at any time, and it's a half hour out of your day because I was about to do a full hour show. Even I have my
well, build up to it, Justin. Build up to it.
Yeah, build to. Yeah, I build to it. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and also I just simply do not have the bandwidth to write and rehearse out. Besides, I already kind of told the people what I was going to be doing, and so I can't really say, "Oh, by the way, can I have another half hour?" Yeah.
Just do like the prop maker did on this, and just I've done it. What are you going to do?
Yeah. It'll be just like I'll sit there in the theater, have the cigarette in my hand, just be like, okay.
Oops.
Well, looks like we got a whoopsie daisy on our hands.
I don't think that works when you're on a kind of stage situation because they can't just flash a red light in your face and eventually just pull you off the stage.
Everybody knows that red light's more of a guideline.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that now. That should be really cool. So yeah, do leave any information for us to pass on. And again, if you're in the area, do go see it. Support our friend Justin, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'll send you the links to the stuff after this. Don't worry.
Cool. Awesome. And again, as I said, do keep following us here on Silver Screen Podcast and also on our sister podcast, Hit or Miss Who Trek, where we are deep in the doldrums of our Hit or Miss Doctor Who Cyberman season. I don't know where we're up to, but it will be a Cyberman related episode of some kind that goes out around the same time as this. So do enjoy that. But as I said, this is the Silver Screen Podcast channel where we do cult classics, cinema classics, and Silver Screen regular. There is no regular Silver Screen next month, but you can tune in for another double cult classics, starting with Labyrinth coming up next. Another cult, absolute cult classic, a very well known and a great David Bowie performance and a fantastic pair of pants, which will be followed by Crawl 2 weeks after that. Speaking of the sci-fi genre, and then next month Cinema Classics we return with a bona fide 24-carat classic, which I have still never actually seen yet. We're going to be making offers that you can't refuse as we review The Godfather. Yeah, looking forward to that nice small film. There's not really a lot to say about.
Yeah, that's going to be a quick watch for you, mate.
Yeah, just 3 hours. So do tune in for that if only to see how badly I mess up. In the meantime,
it can be quick if you do what I did when I first watched Lord of the Rings. Break it up into 90-minute chunks, part 1 and part 2. At least that's what I did.
Probably yours choice, but yeah. So yeah, and in the meantime, I leave you with this thought: about 1 million years from now, the human race will have crawled up to where the Krell stood in their great moment of triumph and tragedy, and Forbidden Planet will shine again like a beacon in the galaxy. It's true. It will remind us that we are, after all, not God. Good night.
You have been listening to the Silver Screen Cinema Classics show, part of the Silver Screen podcast. Cinema Classics is hosted, produced, researched, scripted, and edited by Michael Wilson. Follow us on social media, our YouTube channel, or wherever else you get your podcasts. Links to all of these places can be found via the link tree in each episode's description. This podcast is a Media Matters original production created by Mike Wilson. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share far and wide. Join us again next time, and hopefully this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Here's looking at you, kid. Cut!